episode. Hello, welcome to Ministry Mondays with Meg. I'm Meg. Hey, look. Special episode for you here. So I forgot to ask you. I'm gonna make sure I'm pronouncing names right because names are important. Are you Alicia? Alicia? I mean
The second.
Alicia. Okay, so Alicia Dixon-Garrard.
Yes. Perfect.
Listen, my maiden name is Pumphrey, and no one ever got that right. So names are very important to me. So I always try but I forgot to ask ahead of time. Anyway, hey folks, welcome to the show. If you've never been here before, welcome. But also, where have you been? Where have you been? I think we're at like episode 88 now. Ta-da! And still no confetti, still no noisemakers, but one day.
She's working on it.
Yeah. But also if I got confetti, then I would probably have to be the one to clean it up.
Yeah, that's true.
So
maybe just noisemaker.
Maybe just noisemakers. I mean, I'm down for that. Like I should just put that in my budget for next year. Anyway, so Alicia was in the neighborhood and says, "Hey, can I?" And I'm like, "Okay, let's do that." So, here she is. So, and then we're gonna do lunch. So, folks, like if you're in the general area and you promised to do the podcast with me, and you failed to do that, maybe
your motivation.
It is my motivation. Maybe follow up about getting on the show, and if you want to come do it in person, come do it in person. Then we'll go to lunch too. Whatever.
It's a good deal.
It is a good deal. Like, I mean, just saying. Just saying. And for those of you who've done this without lunch bribery, I love you. I appreciate you. Maybe this having somebody in studio thing. Maybe that's a bad thing. I don't know.
it might.
Or maybe it's a real. You know what? I have a budget, and this is budget season, and we'll talk about that.
We won't talk about budget.
We'll talk about that anyway, so for people who don't know you or just don't know all the things you're doing, and you've got a new gig and all that stuff. Drum roll, fanfare, please. Take it away. Tell everybody who you are, what you do.
Yeah.
We'll go from there.
Yeah. Well, I recently started as the associate regional executive minister. I probably have the words out of order, but y'all know what I'm talking about.
That's right.
Yes, that's
associate
right. Of Rochester, Genesee region in New York.
We love Rochester.
Yes. Where biennial is going to be in 2027.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yay, Rochester.
I'm super excited about that. And it was such a great reveal at the previous biennial we just came from this year.
Yeah.
It was so many letters, I thought it was spelling Mississippi. Because it was just, they turned letters around.
They turned the letters, yes. And so those of us who are in the audience are going,
right.
I'm sure that was what they were, that they were thinking the same thing. But yeah.
I saw the R, I'm like, Raleigh?
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, so that is my most recent gig, which I can tell you more about in a bit. But I've been American Baptist for quite some time. I grew up in Westchester County, Mount Vernon, New York, the home of Dick Clark and Denzel Washington.
Woo.
And Heavy D and the Boys and Debbie Allen and Felicia Rashad. Those are some of the famous people who have come out of Mount Vernon, New York.
That's an impressive list, though.
It is an impressive list. And so that's where I grew up. I went to State University of New York at Binghamton, which changed their name to Binghamton University. That's their flagship of the state schools. So that's how I ended up in Binghamton, New York, where I've been for 3 years. And I was going to be a history professor, changed my mind in graduate school, and was minding my business when I felt the call to ministry. I was minding my business.
That's the way it always goes, though. Here I was, just behaving myself, and God said, "Ha!"
Yes, exactly. So I finished graduate school, got married, was living my little life, got called to ministry, and embarked on that journey. And it actually was a little bit of a tough journey. Like I knew I definitely wanted to be well educated, so I wanted to go back to school, to seminary. I went to Northeastern in Rochester, so I'm somewhat familiar with Rochester. Love Northeastern Seminary. That's like one of my favorite places to visit. And yeah, just honestly, to be honest, there's still, unfortunately, in our church, a lot of isms, a lot of sexism, a lot of racism. And I'm in a part of New York that over the past 30 years, there's more people of color in kind of Western and Central New York. But people of color are still the minority, except in your major cities, Syracuse, Rochester, Buffalo, like places like that. So honestly, it was difficult in a place that has predominantly all white churches as an African American, youngish, oldish, youngish, woman to try to find a good fit as a church at a church. So it really kind of was a journey to ordination, and because I needed the mentorship to get through that, a pastor who could relate to me and really wanted to invest in me to get me through the ordination process. Finally accomplished that and got my MDiv and just was, kind of associate pastor here, assistant pastor there, did a little bit of youth ministry, Christian ed, outreach, discipleship, all the things over the years. A lot of it was volunteer, not all of it was paid. A lot of small churches can't afford to pay more than just one pastor. So I found myself in chaplaincy as a way of continuing in ministry and supporting myself, vocationally, and loved being a chaplain. And that's what I was doing immediately before coming to Rochester, Genesee region.
So were you a hospital chaplain?
I was. Okay. I've done nursing home, psychiatric hospital, and healthcare hospital. Yeah.
What was your favorite out of
the hospital?
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely the hospital. Yes.
And so now that you're in regional ministry, like how does that change?
It's all in these different types during whether you're doing chaplaincy in a congregational setting or in the regional setting, and I'm still new to the regional setting. I had wanted to get back to either congregational ministry or do some denominational work. And regionally, you're kind of ministering to the ministers is what you're doing. You're really trying to help the churches be healthy, trying to care for the pastors. And that is just so up my alley. That is just so up my alley. My lead gifting is shepherding tied with teaching. They tie, and so, yeah, that was just when I found out about this opportunity. I was like, I think I want to do it. I started working on a Lilly grant that the region got, just very part-time. And then Reverend Sandy Hausenhower, who is the executive minister, said, hey, you want a promotion? Like,
and
sure.
She says, let me think about this. Yes. I mean, right.
Yeah.
So you were still full-time chaplaining when
I was full-time chaplaining when I started doing the Lilly grant, coordinating a cohort. We have 3 cohorts going through a 3-year process of thinking about how to revitalize and thrive in the 21st century post-pandemic. And so the grant kind of focuses on that, giving churches opportunities to reimagine ministry or do some grief work. That's one of the other things that they can do, or do some structural updates to bring the building into the 21st century. So there's a variety of different things churches can do. And yeah, it's like juggling balls a little bit, coordinating with all the churches, making sure all the paperwork is in and everybody understands what's to be done. But our churches are doing some awesome things with the money that we got from that grant. And so that work is folded now into the associate position. And I'm kind of charged with overseeing several of our committees, which address the core values of the region, which is mental wellness or mental health, anti-racism, and ecological justice.
Which, if you ask me, no one did, but I'm just going to throw it out there anyway because it's my show. Like all of this is stuff that should be being done through the entire denomination.
Yes.
I mean, in churches in general, but I mean, because having been a pastor having, sometimes I think it would be best, like, if a chaplain actually
Mhm.
came in to the church,
Interesting. Yes.
like I think there comes a point in a church where we know, where they know, but
Mhm.
it's that thing that no one wants to say out loud.
Yes, right.
But maybe like the best way to have a good death,
Mhm. Mhm.
as
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
is to have someone who's really skilled in things like that
Exactly.
walk walk, because I mean it is death, it is the end of,
Mhm.
but you can still celebrate it and
Right.
do things with all of these resources that God has
Yes.
gifted you with, and
Mhm.
it doesn't mean that there isn't new life to be found in all of this, but
Exactly.
that has, when I pastored there were definitely times where I
Mhm.
thought, you know,
Yeah.
it'd be really helpful
Yeah.
to have a chaplain walk through, because I think sometimes it's what, especially when churches get so small,
Mhm. Mhm.
that's really what they need.
Right.
They
A good death. Yeah. Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And some people, I've met through ministry, they're like, I am definitely a pastor or I am definitely a chaplain. Yeah, one or the other. And there's a few like me who are like these weird hybrids
Yeah.
that, I can do both. And they are interrelated, but they are also distinct. And some of those chaplain skills really do come in handy, whether a church, really kind of feels like it's on its last leg and it needs to grieve well to prepare for death, or even just dealing with hard transitions and secrets that have wounded the body. I've seen that a lot in pastoral ministry and in chaplaincy when you're at the bedside and someone says, I've never told this to anyone before, but they feel safe saying it to you. And that posture of safe space as a chaplain, of course, as pastors, we try to be safe space too. But I think after a while, people are like, you're the pastor, you're supposed to say that, and so they may not listen to you, but to have someone different with those chaplain skills come in and listen and kind of facilitate some conversations can be very good, for a congregation. And so, I'm finding I'm using both skill sets and loved the idea of joining Rochester like on staff because of the fact that those are so core to my being, those values, particularly mental wellness and anti-racism. As a youngish, oldish, African American woman who went from a very urban, highly diverse area to a more monoculture, Euroculture environment, those are things that I've had to talk about,
Yeah.
dealing with those barriers that sometimes come up with race and gender that oftentimes were, I think, unconscious, people saying, of course we accept women in ministry. Of course we want to be with our brothers and sisters of color, but never had done it.
Right.
I never had done it.
But do you?
Right.
Do you really?
Exactly.
Like my first church that I was their first pastor whose gender happens to be female is the way I like to put it.
Yes.
But it all becomes, meet our new female pastor.
Oh.
Like
right.
instead of just meet our new pastor.
Right. Meet our
Like,
new pastor.
if you just say meet our new pastor, Meg, that kind of gives it away.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like,
right. Right.
just, like, what do we have to do? I mean, I know we do, or at least, but like, do we have to label everything? But we sort of do, I guess. But
yeah.
yeah.
So helping churches navigate that to help the individual members and their pastors be mentally well and deal with gender and race barriers within the church. That's part of the core values of Rochester, Tennessee that already were mine. So it was like, okay, I think this might be a really good fit when the opportunity came along.
Yeah. Oh, well, I hope that you get in here and you love it, and we know you'll be great at it. Like, and then something happens with the grant fairies and
The
with,
grant fairies.
and I mean, I don't know how the lily grant fairies work, but like also God, and that works. Maybe it just won't be a 2-year kind of
Yeah, it is a 2-year gig for
kind of
now.
thing.
That's all the funds we have. And
Right.
it still is part-time. It's 30 hours, but still kind of
Right.
part-time. So yes, it would be great if the grant fairies or somebody came
Listen,
along and be like, hey.
That's what I'm gonna call them, because I've only ever written one once and it wasn't that deep. So yeah, I'm gonna call them grant fairies until I'm sure somebody will tell me, no, Meg, they're called something else, and that's fine.
Right.
Am I gonna remember it? Maybe. I don't know. Probably not. But whatever. It's a cute name for now. Or forever, whatever. So how long you've been? When did that start at the beginning of?
No, I started the grant work in April.
Okay.
And then in June got promoted. So it hasn't been that long. It's only been about 6 months that I've been in the position.
Okay.
And I kind of like literally stopped chaplaincy the day that I got approved for the position, which was really such a God thing.
Yeah.
It was really a God thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And I've got a special place in my heart for chaplains. And like, I think every pastor, whether you get it MDiv or not, needs to do CPE. I think that should be required of anybody who has ever been, because the world changes.
Yes.
When you do, and especially, like I was in Indiana because that's where I'm originally from. Like, and so I was at a level 1 trauma hospital.
Oh wow. Yes.
With a women's with a birthing center and all of, and so I was in the Methodist like hospital system, like so that we're talking like a huge kind of, and that was I mean, if there's something bigger than drinking from the fire hose, that was it.
Oh yes.
I mean, kind of
for
thing.
Sure.
But you needed it.
Yes, I think we all need it. Because it puts your theology to the test. Like, do I really believe this? Do I not? And if I do, how do I articulate it in a way that's relevant in the moment to someone who's grieving because their wife just died?
Right.
And, they're sitting at the bedside and you're at the bedside with them, or their baby just died.
Yeah.
How do you be pastorally without preaching at someone who's in the midst of grief? I did CPE at a Catholic hospital in Buffalo, and they have like an award-winning NICU. And yes, there still were days though when babies died. And some days I was good with it and some days I wasn't, because I've experienced child loss. I have 2 stillborn sons waiting for me in heaven. And some days I was like, I got this. I kind of can relate. And I'm by that bedside, and there were days that I'm like, I needed my own self-care, that like usually around their birthdays, I could say this is not a day that I'm the chaplain to go to the NICU or to labor and delivery. And that's when it's so great to make sure you have a team and that you're working well together and you know each other's strengths and your gifting just comes together. And I have to say that I just had wonderful experiences at the medical hospitals that I was at, in terms of the teams I was part of, that we really worked very well together and had each other's back in that way. And in Buffalo, we were such a diverse team. A Mennonite who identifies as queer, married to a man, identifies as female but queer and married to a man. Me, an American Baptist, Korean American Southern Baptist, and a Native American Nazarene. And our CPE supervisor was legally blind and had a self-driving Tesla. She's like, I just need to take a sip right now, because that's crazy diverse. And the way the Spirit just knitted our hearts together was beautiful and amazing. And like to this day, we just randomly send each other, smiley faces to say good morning and stuff like that. So
wow.
But yeah, I had to one day share, like, okay, I can't go to the NICU today. This is a hard day for me because I've experienced child loss. they were very sensitive to that,
Mm.
very sensitive to that. And little side project I have going on is I've written about it. My two sons were 4 years apart, and both experiences they were same and different in some ways. And the church really just did not know how to respond
No.
at all.
Mm-mm.
Did not know what to do with grief. But I think especially the loss of a child just freaks everybody out, if we're honest, Christian or not,
Right.
spiritual or religious, however you identify yourself. I think death of children just freaks everybody
Oh,
out.
yes.
And the community that I thought then I could rely on, I could not.
Yeah.
And even some people in my family who I thought I could talk to, I found that I could not because they were struggling to process their own grief around this. And so I wrote, and the first part of the book is, this is what you don't say.
Okay.
That is the first part.
So, first of all, what is the title of this book? And also, folks, you know how this goes. I'm going to put this in the links, like, because full disclosure here, like, I am the auntie of a stillborn, Chloe, who was born at 26 weeks of my brother's second child, and I was pregnant at the time.
Wow.
And so, like,
Yes.
I get the church and the whole, and if one more person like said God and an angel kind of thing,
Oh, yeah.
like
yeah.
I mean, it makes you
Yes.
feel a little stabby, honestly.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
kind of thing. But also, then there's this guilt
Mhm.
because I'm pregnant,
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
and my sister-in-law did not want me to come up to the hospital that day, and that was okay. I understood that
Yeah.
because I wasn't sure I wanted to come up to that. You know,
Right.
obviously, I went to the funeral, but like,
Yes.
you don't want to look at another pregnant woman
Right.
who is still pregnant,
Mhm.
kind of thing. And I realized how difficult that must have been when my child was born,
Mhm.
and my brother came up and held her and all of that, how,
Yeah.
how difficult that must have been for him. But like, the don't say,
Mhm.
everyone needs to read that. So what's the book called?
Waiting for the Cry, a spiritual journey through child loss. Yeah.
Okay, so like, so obviously this is, you talk about this from your place of pain and your experience and your all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. With both sons, I went into premature labor due to infections, different types of infections that sent me into premature labor. And they had me on bed rest for a few days, hoping labor would stop. But I was very early second trimester. So it's like a 99.5% chance this is not going to turn out well. So I was just hoping against all hope.
Yeah.
When Timothy, my eldest son, was born, I was waiting for the cry to kind of know that, okay, this is just a nightmare. This was incorrect. He's fine and he's going to live. And there was no cry. So that's where I got the title from, of You're Waiting for That Cry, that kind of confirms life and that the baby at least has healthy lungs, because they're screaming.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Because that's what you as the parent
wait
for.
Right.
I mean,
that is
with
what you're waiting for.
my own 3, yes, that's what you wait.
That is what you're waiting for.
Yeah, and it didn't.
And it didn't come. It didn't come. And the angel thing, that is one thing that I talk about in that first part. And the second part, there's a few parts. The second part kind of talks a little bit more about those questions that we probably wonder and that there really aren't any answer to that we know for certain, like, do our children grow up in heaven? And things like that. And me just kind of pondering a little bit, just trying to give some food for thought because nobody was having those conversations. There are some good support groups. Compassionate Friends is one of them. They're national. However, you've lost a child as a parent, you can go find a local Compassionate Friends chapter. That was so healing for my husband and I. People felt so bad for us, but we felt for them. I mean, there was one woman who had lost her daughter to murder. And I'm like, what? I could not even imagine, So just a lot of compassion in
Mhm.
those rooms. But those weren't the kind of conversations we were having, those kind
No.
of theological ponderings to
Yeah.
be welcoming to all. It's not faith based, although
Mm-mm.
oftentimes they will meet in a church because churches want to support those sort of
Yeah.
organizations and endeavors. So yeah, that there's a part that kind of just wonders about those sort of things. And if I stay on target, it'll come out in the fall,
Oh,
in
okay. So it's
October.
coming.
Yeah, ebook in October, and then 2 weeks later, paperback. If I don't stay on task, it'll be March or spring. But the goal is fall to have the ebook. October 28th. That's my younger son's birthday.
Okay. So here's the instruction here. Did it pause on us? It paused. Oh,
There you go.
there we go. Is when it comes, like I will update
With the link.
everybody with the link
Yes.
so that you too can go and get this book, because even though my kids are mostly grown now, like this is important.
Yeah,
This
it
is important.
happens. We probably all know at least one person who has
Mhm.
experienced some form of child loss.
Yeah, and I think like with stillbirth,
Mhm.
it seems like maybe that one is one that maybe gets whispered about, like that maybe not everyone
Yes.
knows.
Yes.
I mean,
Mhm.
that
Right.
yeah.
It is. I found that after the experience, I felt like people just disappeared because I didn't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. But every now and then in church, after church, a woman would approach me and said, I had a miscarriage. And it was whispered, just like you said.
Yeah.
It's one of those silent sufferings. I think there's a few silent sufferings in the church, and that's one of them, dealing with child loss. And I talk a little bit about that because it seems not just contrary to everything God has promised, but contrary to what it means to be a woman. We're supposed to be the life bearers and life givers. And so,
Yeah.
what does it do to your sense of womanhood that this has happened in the opposite, with the opposite result? So, yeah.
And that people are just like, oh, you can have another one.
That's one of the that's
I
one of the
mean,
chapters.
yeah. But like I can't imagine if if you had having gone through that and twice to go, yeah, I can. No, I don't know.
No, you are terrified.
I was gonna say there's no like being terrified every single day of that pregnancy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. And it's part of the reason why we decided not to try again, my husband and I, a third time. My doctor was like, you clearly are high risk. I'm going to refer you to a high risk doctor, and your entire pregnancy will be bed rest. And my husband said that. He said, I have to work. I'm our primary provider, and I will go mad. Like, I will not have sanity being at work every single day worrying about, are you and the baby okay? It would terrify me.
yeah.
Because we both are transplants to the Binghamton area. I came up from Westchester. He's originally from Richmond,
Yeah.
Virginia. He went to University of Pittsburgh and got hired right out of college. And so we've both been in Binghamton a long time. But we're there by ourselves. Like, our church family is a little bit of our extended family. We have no immediate family in the area with us at all. So that makes a very big difference too. And so he was just like, no, I don't think that I can psychologically handle another pregnancy. And I honored that. And I said, okay. So we don't have living children. It's just the two of us.
Yeah. And being okay with that. I mean, that's and that's not something that everybody could do.
Right.
I mean, the strength of that to be okay with that. I mean, is that's huge. I mean,
A lot of conversations with God.
and I bet. I mean, and marriages that break down after child loss, no matter what reason.
Yes.
I mean, I'm, having been the pastor, having lived life, I know of parents who have had to do that. And as a parent, your worst fear, is
exactly.
it is just that is is bearing a child. And how that,
For sure.
the statistics there
Yeah.
are pretty
Yes,
devastating.
it really does take a toll. Yeah, it really does take a toll. There's another organization, the HIM Network,
Yes.
Healing Extension Maternal Network,
Yes.
based in Jersey. And so, yep. If you
Ruth
just
has been on
Google
the.
them-
Ruth has been.
Oh,
Hello,
good.
everybody.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Ruth Alert
check them
Jones. She's
out.
been. I don't remember her number right off the top of my head. There's like 88 of them now, so we, forgive me for that, but we can link Ruth.
Yes, link it because we have an
Alert
event coming
Jones,
up.
right?
Yep. The other Dr. Ruth.
The
That's what I
other
call her.
doctor. Right. Because she was sure to say, "I'm not Reverend Doctor." Okay.
She's
Optometrist?
Yes, optometrist, ophthalmologist, one of those two. So that's where her DR comes from.
So we'll link her in there in case you want to go back and watch her episode. Yeah, where she talks about some of this. And yeah, I mean, like, God bless those of you who have that heart and can do that. Because I'm sure, as a chaplain, as a in there, the way you're able to connect with people. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. I've wanted to write it for over 20 years, and I did. My eldest son this year would have been 21, and their younger one, what's 21 minus 4? 17.
Look at you, mathing. She's mathing on a Monday. Woo!
So yeah, it's kind of just a gift to the world, and hopefully it helps people and helps churches, helps pastors, helps chaplains, just sparking some thought. So this is how I got through my journey and what I learned from my journey. Yeah.
Well, I'm more than happy to promote it and to share it with others, because that's what we do here. That's why, that's what Ministry Mondays with Meg is all about. Right? Yeah, is sharing these resources. And because life is hard.
Life is hard.
And it's not getting any easier, but that's another podcast. I mean, really.
Right.
Really. So, do you have like a dream job? Or is it the one? Is it the one you're like? I mean, like, if you could create your own
dream
job, like,
if I could create my dream job, honestly, has been, this is another project that I had to work on. I shouldn't say project, but a ministry I had worked on that who knows what God is going to do with it. I tried my hand at church planting briefly.
Yes.
Community of Grace of the Southern Tier is what we were called. And our core values were racial reconciliation, mental wellness, and family peace, talking about issues of violence in the family and overcoming issues of violence. And my dream job would be to go back to establishing that church. But I think I've learned some things of what to do and what not to do to make it a bit more flexible and able to work in our 21st century context. A lot of people who consider themselves to be regular churchgoers only show up once or twice a month.
Right.
So not trying to do the 4 Sunday thing, maybe have a building, maybe not have a building, maybe worshiping in multiple places in terms of rotating in the community where we worship. So many ideas, particularly because our communities tend to be segregated by race and class still today. And that's a barrier that I believe we need to overcome. I mean, the early church shared and pooled its resources. Acts tells us nobody lacked for anything for a while, because those who had shared with those who did not have, in terms of material cash resources. But also, we know as a body, each person has a different spiritual gift. And what we bring to the table in order to love and nurture each other through this thing called life.
Yep.
Because life be lifing.
Yep.
Like you said, life is hard. Life be lifing. Is amazing.
Yeah.
But if we remain segregated and even more biased and prejudiced towards each other of different class and ethnic and racial groups, we're really not being the body that Christ has called us to be. So this is like my passion. Where I'm at in particular, there really isn't a truly multi-ethnic church. There are some predominantly white churches with some sprinkles. And there's like some predominantly African American with maybe one sprinkle, one or two white
Right.
sprinkles.
Yeah.
There isn't really a truly multi-ethnic, multiracial congregation. And when you do that, it's from the top to the bottom, from the front to the back. It's not tokenism, and that's what a lot of churches do.
Yeah.
They may have one female on staff, one person of color on staff, and think they got it right, but no. And a lot of times, people of color will simply assimilate into the dominant culture because they really like the preaching or they like the pastoral care. They find a place that they feel like they're being nurtured in their Christian walk, and they stay. But culturally, the church really does not reflect them.
Yeah.
And so that is my dream job, is to establish community of grace and have it be a multi-ethnic church that faces woman ministry, fully empowers women to do ministry, and that is open, welcoming. So a Baptist church in a community that is conservative in its theology, just to show that there is a broader swath of Christianity out there. There are progressive American Baptists.
Well, when it happens, because we're going to speak it into being, right? Okay, so when it happens, you're going to come back and you're going to tell everybody, all about it, and we're going to support it. And I don't know, I'll come preach. I'll come. Yeah! I'll show up, whatever you want, whatever you want, because and this is part of the work I did with my dissertation stuff. We as American Baptists love to talk about our diversity, but we're not. Our diversity is segregated. It's segregated.
Right.
I mean, not sorry, that's the truth.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
Let's just.
Yeah. And I'm not saying there's not a space for some of those, segregated spaces, venues, because dealing with racism, people of color really do need communities of support in which they can talk and not have to explain themselves, when people just get it because they've gone through it, and they just know exactly what you're talking about and can give you tips on how to not just survive but thrive. And I think it's the same with women. We need safe spaces to talk about dealing with the isms. I was talking to my husband that traveling by myself has gotten scary when it used to not be scary, because men feel like they could just touch me, sometimes. I know it's a gentlemanly thing to do, to let a woman go through the door first, but you can kind of make a gesture. I have men touching the small of my back. And I'm like, you're not my husband. Please stop touching me.
Right.
So touch me without my permission.
Right.
So, we need spaces in which we can talk about that. And people who English is a second language, they need spaces in which they can speak their language, because language is also culture, and it's embodiment, and it's a way of moving in the world. It's a part of identity. It's not just about communicating. And so it's not that I'm against those spaces. I just feel that also, if we are going to look like heaven, if we're going to look like Revelation, we need to start doing that here on earth.
Yeah, that's my feelings.
That's my thing.
Yes,
that's my thing.
If somebody's not going to be safe in in that place, safe to be whomever they are, then no, I don't want them in that. And and you're right. And you need exactly that. You need somebody who gets it without having to try and explain everything. Yeah, absolutely. So I just think it's important to acknowledge that wow, yes, so we have diversity. It's also it is what it is. I mean, look at the world and neighbors and and gentrification and
it's still
all
very
the things
segregated along race and class. And I think I want to add another core value to community of grace, sharing abundance, addressing issues of poverty, because they're systemic. It has nothing to do with moral character. And it was interesting, the various hospitals that I did do chaplaincy at, that one really had a lot of rural poor, and I could see the difference in just the health status, the poor health status, and how entrenched the health conditions were. So we need to address that too.
So the joy question. I mean, we could have you on here to talk, because this has just been fantastic. Your
Okay.
ministry and all the things that you do, and I mean, fascinating.
Yes. I'll just say that Community of Grace podcast will come back. We do have a podcast too.
And there's a podcast.
We've been on
too.
hiatus because I was doing CPE. So now that I'm back, and actually the next series is going to be preaching with nurses, because I just really felt that whether they were Christian or not, or had any sort of spiritual practice or not, some of the nurses were Jesus. They were being Jesus and could teach us a lot.
I
So
was a nurse before I was.
really?
I was a nurse before I was a pastor.
She's so cool.
But now that she said this, she's committed to this live on the on my podcast, and ta-da, it's gotta happen. And when that, we can always, there's things called reruns and all of that, but like, stay tuned for more. Anyway, the joy. So like, you do some, well, what's that? I mean, it doesn't have to be, I suppose, the thing, but, what brings you joy?
Oh, things like this. I love getting to have these sort of deep conversations with kindred spirits and a really good cup of tea. That those things bring me joy. We were talking about our little support animals.
Yes. Yes.
Sleeping with my stuffy also brings me a lot of joy.
So some people, when they travel, some of us have little, things that we take with them, and mine might be an anime character that my children, and it's fine. And occasionally will pop up in a picture on an airplane or something like that. Other people might have, farm animals and sheep.
I love naps, so I get joy from naps, and I'll cuddle with my little
I
sheepy.
think naps are holy. Jesus naps, so I have no problem. I have no problem with naps, and so
silent retreats. I like silent retreats. Those bring me a lot of joy too. Just kind of staring at the lake.
Hawaii brought me joy. I went to Hawaii.
Yeah, just sitting by the lake with Jesus and just looking at that beauty also brings me joy. So those are the things. I'm a weird hybrid. Like I like those kind of solitude contemplative things, the nap and the silent retreats, but I also love getting to be with people and have these sort of conversations. Brings me a lot of joy too.
It's like the extroverted introvert thing.
I'm an ambivert.
Is that what it's called?
Somebody told me. I didn't really research, but that's what they told me. They were like, "You're more like an ambivert," and I've adopted it. I'm an ambivert.
I'm gonna try and remember this. Okay, because like I always just call myself an extroverted introvert kind of like I need to be, but then I'm exhausted. Like then I got a nap. Then I got a nap. But like I need to go do that every.
Balance. Yeah. Like ambidextrous, both hands, ambivert.
You heard it here. There might end up a link to the ambivert thing in the description. Or if you have one, send it in. That's okay. Yay. All right. So we have your HEM, your HEM network things, so we'll put that up there. And we're gonna wait on the book because the book is coming.
The book is coming.
Coming soon. Because really, either way, whether it's October or March,
it's right around the corner.
Right. But however, we will support that. And
the podcast is Graced Conversations.
Graced Conversations. And
on Spotify.
We'll get you a link to that as well. So thank you for doing this. Thank you. And if I'm still waiting on you to do this, yes, this is me in the guilt trip. Like, you know who you are. I'm talking to you. I'm not going to call names today. Whatever. Later, maybe. But
get your tushy in here.
Right. Or we can just do this the normal way. We can do this, and that's fine too. But we're also delightful in person.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for this. Thank you for your ministry. Oh my gosh. And we'll have to have you back again because this is
Fun.
fun. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thanks for being part of the madness. Tell your friends. Tell your neighbors.
Yes.
Tell your friends, neighbors. That's what I used to tell my congregation. We're having a thing. So tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your friends' neighbors. It's fine.
All the peoples.
All the peoples, yeah. And we'll see you next time. Bye. See, you are a fab